Joe Keefe, Bill Sims, DFL Associates, Inc., Edgewood, East Torrance, and Conch Peninsula and Water Conservation Districts have been wonderful supporters. From the very beginning, they've been very supportive. Torrance County has given us lots of support. The Hub RC&D gave us a small grant last year. We've had some terrific donations in both in-kind goods and services. The McIntosh Community Association actually donated the building and 4 acres in additional and an additional 6 lots in Sweet Butterville. 7 lots?
7 lots, yeah.
Which I believe are under contract or soon to be under contract, so that will provide us with some income. We also have had a lot of help from Odin and Associates. Tim has stepped up to the plate twice now and provided us surveys, and we assure him that he will have underwriting acknowledgement when we are on the air. The Wetterman family, again, has provided us a place to put our tower and pretty much helped us in any way they can. They've been just wonderful. Wall and Associates helped us early on with some legal work that we needed in relation to some MOAs and MOUs, etc. James and Elaine Yeager from the Mount Airy area have donated things that we have been able to sell for some additional funding. Magnum Steel Buildings is helping us with the refurbishment and placement of the building that we are going to be using at the tower site to house our equipment. Central New Mexico Electric Co-op has generously agreed to run 3-phase power to the tower site, which we will need at their cost. And Avita has been very supportive of us in terms of services and supporting the project and being behind the project. So we are very grateful to all of them. And the X is coming soon, so be ready. And I'm going to ask Art Swinka to pass out a map that you can all look at and will kind of explain, that shows the broadcast configuration, and I'll wait till you have them before we talk about them. I tried to get this into a slide. I thought it was pretentious, but Bill thinks it's the format that it came in. But before we do this again, I think we'll have it converted to a slide. Thank you. Explain to me, and then I will have Bill and Ladd and Art stand for any questions. Our community of license, our actual license broadcast configuration, is the area that is in that black squiggly line, so to speak. Okay, that's our primary broadcast area. And that is almost all in white, but you'll see some yellow and some orange. However, our actual broadcast range far exceeds that community of license. And we are still all right because we are not interfering with anyone else's community broadcast configuration under which they are licensed. And you can see how there's we kind of refer to it as the little dimple in the top, where there's the dip and then the bubble, and it's that way so we won't interfere with KANW's broadcast configuration. And the areas that are in white will all have quite a very strong signal. Mountain air is included in the white. The mountain communities are included in the white. The area that is not going to get coverage is that area in the Abo Pass. And that's simply because of the topography of the area. And I think they get limited coverage on just about everything, to tell you the truth. The areas that are in yellow are still going to have a strong signal, and the areas that are in the orange will have a tolerable signal. The areas that are in blue are not going to receive our broadcast. And if you have questions, we would be happy to answer them. Yes?
What kind of music are you playing?
What kind of music are we going to play? You know, we did a lot of surveying, and we came up with all sorts of different responses. Our strongest response was for the country mode, but we have everything requested from youth programming to some classical programming. The big thing that came out is people would like to see our local musicians promoted. And so what we want to do is to blend everything enough so that everyone gets a bit of what they want. And we have already planned to buy the licenses that we need to play pre-recorded music. We can't just, tape it and put it on because we're out of compliance then. So we are buying a license that will allow us to do pre-recorded music too. But we've actually had several local musicians attend our meetings off and on, and some of the community presentations that we've done, and there are lots of them that want to be involved. So a little of everything and a lot of it, evidently. Music is a big request. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention, another thing that we've had a request for and that we plan to do is the Saturday swap and trade. So that's definitely in the plans that we'll have a local, probably about a 2 or 3 hour show that's a swap and trade. Anything else? Yes?
And this was brought up several years ago. I know as president of the Stanza Booster Club, we've been discussing this on our agenda quite often. And what my membership is asking of me, ultimately, if we are to broadcast sporting events, we would be responsible for our broadcasting equipment.
Most likely, we would bring remote broadcast to you. So that's something that you would work out with Blake, who's the program manager. But it could be done either way.
Pass that back on them. You can add us to your membership list and keep us involved.
Okay. Anything else? Well, thank you all. We appreciate your attention.
Well, thank you, Pat, for your presentation, and Mr. Cisco. We're now at the table for any questions from the board. Are there any questions for Ms. Lincoln?
I have none, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the update. With that, we will now move to item number 2, acceptance of update of the corridor management plan, Solomon's Trail Scenic Byways. Ms. Tollefson. Good morning.
As you may remember, I've been before you several times in the last year or so to update you on the update that we've been doing for the Solomon's Trail Scenic Byway Master Plan, or Management Plan. The last time I was here several months ago, I gave you a brief review of the draft, of what was actually in the draft, and told you we were about to go to public meetings. And that public meeting process was so that we could request public comment. We've been through that process, and we are now ready to ask for your formal action on the plan update. That would be accepting the update and also agreeing to provide a representative to the corridor management, the corridor organization committee. just a brief review. The plan is for the entire Salt Mission Trail Scenic Byway. And it identifies a number of projects for implementation along the byway. These include an updated byway brochure, creating a memorable marketing brand for the byway, designing construction of the New Mexico 41 Trail project, various history and preservation projects, and several kind of what we've been calling pan byway projects that can occur all along the byway rather than specific locations. We're hoping to work with the X to both publicize those and we do some projects with them related to the history of the area and youth movement. The plan also calls for establishment of a corridor management committee with representations from each of the communities along the area, including the county. And that's what I was referring to when I mentioned the committee. The resolution before you does two things. It accepts the plan as a basis for requesting funds for the implementation of projects along the byway. So it doesn't commit you in any sense in terms of planning and that type of thing. It's more project implementation as we go forward. It also commits the county to appointing a representative to that committee I mentioned. The committee will be staffed by the Council of Governments as part of our work with the Rural Transportation Planning Organization. And it's not necessary to make that appointment to the committee today, but it is something that we are trying to make sure that everybody along the byway, all the communities along the byway, are formally represented on that. We would expect the first meeting of that to happen probably in about a month and a half, 2 months. And I'm hoping to get approval of this resolution from each of the communities along the byway before we have that first meeting. You are my first entity for us to ask that, for that action. So with that, I just stand for questions.
Loretta, thank you for again being here today and your continued work on this. Is there a recommendation from the organization for any particular members, or are you asking us to consider a recommendation or to make a recommendation to the board?
We have no recommendation to you as to who you would like to assign to that. But that can be one of you all, it can be your staff, it can be a member of the community. It's at your discretion.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Thank you for your very well put together booklet, and I'm sure if there's anyone who'd like to see it in the audience, that she would make it available for you, or we can. Are there any questions from the table?
I don't have any.
I have none.
Okay, great, thank you. You did kind of kept going back to the word resolution, and we don't actually have one before us, but can we just go ahead and just accept what you've submitted, or what's the recommendation?
That would be perfect.
Okay. So at this time, I will go ahead and call for a motion to accept the update of the corridor management plan for the Salt Missions Trail Scenic Byway.
So,
The motion from Commissioner Tapia. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, and we will hope to have a recommendation to you by the end of the month.
That would be perfect.
Okay, thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much. Thank you for being here. We will now go to item number 3, panic alarm system. Nick, is that from you? No? Yes? George?
Madam Chair, we got quotes on the panic alarm systems as per the Commission's request, and the quote that came in for wireless panic buttons for the elected officials' offices is $7,000, $7,018.45. And I have had a request from a couple of additional offices that if you're going to consider panic buttons, they would like panic buttons also. So we don't have quotes on that because those requests came in yesterday.
Okay, thank you. So we do have that to consider. Are there any questions from the table at this time? If you'd like to move forward, would we like to consider the number and our options? We're at the table for discussion.
Well, if we're going to do this, and if there's other departments that are looking at it, I'd like to see what a total figure would be. If you can, again, get some more information for us to see the other departments also.
Okay.
Julia, are the other requests out of different offices, or are they
Yes,
in an
sir.
office that the panic button would be in?
No,
Just
sir.
be better reach.
One request came from the project office that the domestic violence staff told me it was imperative they have a panic button, and that they've never had one before. And as the direction given from the commission was for the elected officials' offices, so we didn't get a quote on that one. But our thinking as an internal discussion was that if domestic violence wants one, that community monitoring should also, because they're here at night a lot of times with offenders. So it's just an idea.
And I agree. If we've already ruled out yelling or screaming. Okay.
Okay, great. So we will wait to hear back on those 2 additional offices. We will now go to, or is there any further discussion? Commissioner?
I have none, thank you.
All right, Joy, did you have anything further on that?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. We will now go to item number 4, 2012-2013 RFP for cell provider.
Madam Chair, at the last commission meeting, and if you review the minutes, you'll see that the commission kind of had a general consensus as to what they wanted to do with the cell phones. But I think we need some official action so that we can move forward with the proposal that was submitted with the RFP and the contract that's still kind of in limbo. So I would ask for a motion and some official action.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Freiberger. I believe at the last meeting that this was discussed, I don't believe maybe you put it in the form of a motion, but would you be willing to do so now so that we can have it as a part of the record?
Yes, I would.
Okay, please go ahead.
I move that we accept the RFP that we had spoke of earlier.
Okay. And that is with T-Mobile?
It's with T-Mobile, yes.
Okay.
Madam Chair, may I interject?
Yes, please.
Commissioner Freiberger, would you consider amending your motion to remain on the T-Mobile contract and rejecting the proposal from Plateau?
Yes, I'll make that amendment.
Thank you.
Thank you. We had a motion and amendment. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We will now go to item number 5, Commission update. We will begin with District 1. Is there an update from District 1?
We had discussed this, that we bring up on the road.
Sure, that's fine. If you'd
Okay.
like to begin there.
We had discussed and had discussions with different offices about the take-home vehicles. And I believe that we should continue to write a policy. Right now in our personnel policy, there are some things that may need amendments to. In the meantime, what I would like is that we have some forms that we need to implement, maybe some guidelines that we could implement with each of the offices, all the way from the Sheriff's Department to Teen DWI Court. And I believe that we should continue on with those and implement the forms
Okay.
that the commission approves.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any comment on that, Commissioner Zapia? Okay, thank you. So the recommendation is to go forward with the forms as submitted, and until policies are amended, we will continue as we are.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we will now go to District 2 for an update.
I've been talking with NMAC and Paul. I would like to recommend that we bring the NMAC down to give us as commissioners a crash course on our code of conduct and how we, I know that several times the question has been brought up, you know, how do I answer my constituents and what do I do and how do I go about that? So I can't on my own ask them to come down and school us, but if it's an agreement among the three of us, they said that they would be more than willing to come down and, you know, spend an hour with us and help us to kind of have a better understanding of our jobs as commissioners. So I would ask that if it would be okay with the two of you, that I could go ahead and set something up.
Okay, I absolutely support that. I think it's always great to have people come in and help us. I certainly would also like us to consider possibly